Hey, I'm coming to you tonight. It's almost midnight, and I said, you know what? I need to really start doing more conversations. Made some videos maybe 2 weeks ago with my drummer at the church, and we kind of talked about pastoral and music ministry, personnel relationships, and just some simple. We talked for maybe 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 8 minutes, or something like that, and just kind of hitting on some areas, uh, the inner workings of how pastors and music teams, how things should be, how things are, as far as the relations between the two. And I just noticed, maybe the last couple of months, really, a lot of videos of people who are, you know, saying, "Man, I'm done with the church music thing. Man, I'm out of it. I don't want to have anything to do with no pastor. I don't want to be in this whole regime." And I've had that feeling before. I've had that emotion before. And I wanted to just be like, you know what? I need to find something else to do. This is frustrating me. And at a time, I was really getting ready to just shift from that, or to just take a break. And every time I got to the point of, like, I'm finna take this break, I'm finna take a year off and just not do it, God kept heightening the experience that He would put me in, different worship settings that would be, I would come in, someone invite me to come be somewhere, and okay, we need you to just kind of open up and flow with a few songs, and set the atmosphere, and I'd be like, my mind is thinking I'm finna get ready to take this break, and I'm not even in no setting, no worship mode, atmosphere, mood, like, at all. But God started heightening my ability and the anointing that has always been on me to do worship ministry, music ministry. And people that know me know, I'm almost kind of like Kirk Franklin, who is a mastermind genius as far as gospel music is concerned. He is someone who has been great with the ability to get other people to sing really well. He is not like the best vocalist himself. He can sing a little bit, but you get him with a group of people, he will transform his creativity of what he hears in here and have a group of people sounding like, oh my God. And I have had that ability to get other people to sing real well, lead. I got to have a concept in my head of what the atmosphere or the setting should be and convey the idea, teach the parts, and other people could just do it. I didn't never really consider myself like this strong, just singer, Nonetheless, trying to lead the worship and do anything like praise and worship, I was shying away from all of that, And over the years, in different settings I've been in, smaller church settings, I've had to take that role on and actually communicate with the congregation. I'm the minister of music and the worship leader and the song leader, and I'm getting ready for this break. Like, I don't, why are you adding on some other role that I'm not really even trying to do? I'm not trying to lead no worship. I'm not trying to become the next. I'm not really trying to do that, God. I just want to I'm trying to move to the place of a hiatus. And I got put in a unique situation for a pastor in this area, this region, and where I was not on the organ, which I grew up, primarily being that the primary instrument, and I could play keys, but that wasn't my strong point. But out of the last 2 years, something has happened in me, and this particular person, began to prophesy about music ministry and the whole worship element of me leading more, being more vocal, being able to, God was going to begin to use my voice to shift atmosphere. And I'm like, I don't know who you, maybe you heard him talking to somebody else about somebody else and you heard it and you thought it was for me. But over time, it started happening. So I'm thinking in my head, this break is coming up and you're over here heightening some other area in music ministry. I don't want to do this. I just want to let me just play. Everybody else actually lead it and follow. I was trying to come to a place to just kind of bag out of trying to be the chief person that's kind of setting atmosphere. Let me just kind of be in the background and let me show everybody else how to do it. But out of the time of being with this pastor, some amazing worship experiences have happened out of something God has been doing in me, vocally, and of course being on keys and kind of shifting into out of the traditional gospel Baptist sound to, I guess, more of a prophetic, I don't even know what genre you would say, just kind of a mixture of just flowing, a lot of string, a lot of piano, a lot of just kind of song of the Lord type moments where you may start out singing something that's already written, and then you kind of get into this place where you really start creating songs, creating moments out of the hat. And it's just been increasing. And I'm saying, God, I thought we was getting ready to go on a break. I wasn't planning on becoming more. I mean, I've been leading. I've led music ministry for a long time, but you're over here heightening this one area that's just going to put me more and more out front. And I'm trying to find the door, not to quit, but to just kind of relax, kind of get my mind together about some other things God is talking to me about that really have nothing to do with music. But God is saying, no, I'm going to use this to get you to that next place. I'm still going to use your music ministry. And so my traditional ideas with music and just the whole routine and the flow of how things flow in a worship setting, one thing I can say God has done with me is have me experienced in several different denominational worship styles. I mean, I have been AME church, Baptist church, for a gospel Baptist, which is kind of a contemporary version of Baptist with an apostolic touch to it. The apostolic ministry, I've flowed with people who have prophetic ministries, the Seventh-day Adventist church. I mean, it's just kind of all of these mixtures of styles and cultures, worship cultures. I was here a couple of years ago when I originally came to Atlanta. I was at Faith Christian Center with Pastor Andre Butler, and that was a total transition for me. Going from Baptist to CCM style worship was an adjustment for me. But in that time, I started learning more how to flow and not be as regimented. We're going to do this song and then we're going to shift to this. We would literally we would have a schedule, we would have a plan, but we had this chemistry that was between the worship leaders and all of us, the band, where we knew how to go into that other place, unscripted, but still be together and have the same excellence. And I think that's where God has really gifted me to go into atmospheres intentionally because of something he's trying to do or change in that particular worship culture. The church I'm at now, Baptist church, and God has used me to bring a corporate worship style, into that experience where it's just not everybody sitting and watching the choir and watching the musicians, but as soon as that experience begins at 11 o'clock, people are standing, they're communicating with each other. So I pick certain songs that cause people to not only speak up, but you talk to your neighbor, and you move, and you feel free to worship with other worshipers. And I've watched this thing. Now I'm really paying attention to it, because now God is using me to be more vocal and singing more. That causes something to happen in the atmosphere that creates this cohesiveness, I guess you would say. And it's been interesting to see. Most of the pastors I've been with for the last couple of years, they verbally say, this is kind of what I'm looking for. I'm trying to go in this direction, trying to go in that direction. And God, knowing already what he wants to do, has begun to use me in a very unique, specific way as it relates to the atmosphere and being able to flow. And I think every time there's a change that's getting ready to happen, like I said before, with the ministry that's getting ready to go to some other place, the ministry itself, the pastor, the leader, the senior leader, God is always going to elevate and transition the worship experience along with that transition. If a leader is really tuned in, God will begin to start changing your staff, changing the people who are closest around you to usher in this other experience. And this morning when I woke up, I started praying around my normal time. God, what are you saying to me? What is this whole singing thing and this worship part that you're bringing out of me? I got the Bible. I was like, let me just check some stuff out. And I was looking at Genesis chapter 48, and it's kind of talking about Jacob as he's dying, as he's leaving off the scene. And Joseph is already in his position. He's already been through all of the stuff that he went through. He's running basically the prime minister of Egypt. And the word came to him that, look, man, your dad is dying, and you should go and see about him and probably kind of have that last conversation with him. And Jacob, he brings sins for them to come. And Jacob begins to give him instructions on what's getting ready to happen next. One era is ending. And so he calls all of the tribes together, Joseph's sons together, and gives instruction or blessing to each son that heads up each tribe. And he dies. Like, that era ended. Joseph was able to have that moment with his father, but it was a turning point, if you will, for something new to happen. And I was just sitting there looking at that, and I said, something is happening with me. Some kind of turning point that's coming. And my comfort zone level, my tolerance is being stretched. And when I read that, it just centered into me that one stage or season or dimension is ending, and something else is getting ready to begin. And so I thought about the music ministers that I've been seeing quitting and people kind of just bagging off. And I'm saying tonight that if you've really been called to a place, or you're being called somewhere else, you have to really be in tune with what God is saying to you. It is so easy to be stuck in a place or just being comfortable. And God is really trying to break you into a whole nother atmosphere, a whole nother assignment And something unique happened to me today. I'm not going to talk about it yet. But it just, after I read that this morning, all day today, it's like it's been this. I was looking at an article before I went to sleep last night. And I don't look at Sports Illustrated. This is not my magazine, like at all. And it was sitting up on the counter a couple of days now, and I was going to bed, and I came in here to get something to drink. And I looked and said, let me look through here. I never do this. There's a little article in here. What's this boy name? Oladipo? I think I'm pronouncing it right. Plays for the Indiana Pacers. He had an accident, messed up his ankle or something. And so he's going through the recovery stage. They said, man, you're not going to be able to come back. And if you do, it's going to be a while. So the team is saying, man, how are we going to perform and get through the season without him? And the coach decides to make a suggestion. Look, we got to work with what we got, and until he gets back. You know, when you're a leader, especially in music worship ministry, the role that we play is so important that sometimes, even though we're present, God is doing something internally to end one season. Something new is getting ready to happen. Now, this boy is not playing for this particular season. He's out. And the team has to make all these adjustments in the in-between time. And in that time, one of the coaches said, you have to adapt and slow down. It's like driving in the snow whenever you need to make a shift. And they made this button that they put in the practice or the locker room. And so when this boy finally made it back to the team, he looked on the wall and noticed that they had put a button there. The hard reset. And soon as I saw that thing hit me. Because it said to me that sometimes God you're not starting over from the beginning. It's like me resetting my computer. It doesn't take all of the programs off. If I do a hard reset now on this laptop, it's not going to erase all of the apps. It's just going to, whatever shouldn't be there, it's going to clean that off and take it back to a fresh, original state. And when I saw that red button on that page, I just said, Now, all week I've been praying, and, God really he ain't been really saying, he's been talking, but it's just been kind of like not our normal flow. It's just been kind of like a bits and pieces. But last night and to this point today, I'm like, oh my God, I see what's going on. And so I'm saying, music ministers, worship pastors, music directors, worship leaders, singers, band, get in tune with God and really see what it is that he's trying to do with your life, so that when we all get together, we are creating a team that is setting an atmosphere for this next move, for the house itself, the worship experience itself, whatever ministry that you are working with or serving at. You never know what God is up to that will benefit everybody in the house itself through the worship element. Through the worship element, that one place that may be frustration could be the place where you get a revelation from God. I have been in places where there was just stiffness, no moving around, no hands up, just kind of sitting there quiet. They got the clock running. You don't get into no flow. You don't be going into no worship. We got to move on. Traditional maybe in some senses. And I watched those places break and turn into totally off the script. People laying in the floor, young people worshiping hands up, all because, in my case, God was doing something in me and the leader. And then I had to help get everybody else into a place that eventually some major transition started taking place in the atmosphere. Unscripted. We had our worship plans. We're going to do this song. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. All the structures in place. But God was shifting some stuff. And in some cases, people left. The worship culture was changing. God was wanting to do something different. And I'm saying to worship ministers, and music directors, or whatever your title may be, be sensitive to what the Spirit is really saying to you. Because God can really use it. You have to know how important it is for the life of a church or life of a ministry. Particularly if you have a pastor or a leader who is really getting ready to shift into another dimension or another place, and he's leading the people. How important that worship experience has to be the incubator, I guess, to get it there. When God gets in people's hearts, and it's going to be through the worship experience itself, it makes it easier for the vision really to be taken on by the people. It's hard to make a big shift and the hearts of the people are closed or untouched. Something about that atmosphere when it gets to the place God is trying to get it to, people start having personal breakthrough. The whole atmosphere just changes to something you can't box it up. You can't measure it and see it's this big or this, how much time we got. It just turns into something organic and natural. And I think that's where God is taking me. And I'm very interested and curious to see what he's going to do, because I'm totally out of my comfort zone all the way. But I'm confident that the word that I know, the God that I have known, is faithful and just, and he is going to bring to pass what he has designed for me to do. He'll finish the work. He will give me strength to finish and to be in the places I'm supposed to be in. Move me to the next place that I'm supposed to be in. Shift me as God is using me to be a shifter. And so that's the thing. I think music is very powerful. And if you're really called into this area, sometimes you got to toughen up and deal with your own circumstances and see past the frustration. Because God can be really setting you up to be an instrumental piece in the breakthrough of other people, not just yourself, but for an entire life of a church. You could really be the piece that he's using with your ability. But you have to be open and you got to be connected. So that's all I want to say. I done preached already. I done went, oh my God, this thing is at 24 minutes. But when I read that this morning, and then I saw that article last night about the reset, and I saw the scripture this morning with Jacob and Joseph, just, it's like this feeling of something is ending. But oh boy, something new is getting ready to start. That's all I got for right now. I'll be back with something else in the morning. Till then, be blessed, and we'll catch you next time.